Hello everyone and welcome to the Coffee Club podcast. I'm joined here today by Ainabo.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm sat here with my McDonald's McCafe coffee.
Well, it's the easiest one to get, so
Yeah.
I'm probably going to start with the deep voice thing. It's like I always start podcasts with just doing the deep voice thing, mainly because it's like, it's like an announcer kind of thing where it's like, welcome to the podcast. I'm joined by Ainabo Television. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't want to make it look too corporate or else it's going to lose its relatability. So should we just jump straight into it with what we were watching? So we've been very busy with, stuff we've been watching lately.
We've been watching a lot lately.
Yeah, I think we've gone through like Netflix. We've burnt through a lot of Netflix, like the main recommendations from there.
Yeah.
And recently, in terms of film, March has been a bit of a dead month. But let's jump Let's jump right into the main topic, or the first topic, which is Us.
Yes, the horror film, Jordan Peele's second film.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's second film he's written and directed.
Currently, right now, actually, we're watching his first film, Get Out. We
Get
literally
Out,
have it paused on the 26th minute and the 10th second right now.
All right, send us a screenshot of the 26th minute and the 10th second if you were watching this, by the way, when you go on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Just tweet us a screenshot.
26th minute and 10th second. Go do it now. Tweet it at the Coffee Club, not at
Yeah.
But,
Anyway.
So what were your thoughts?
I thought it wasn't as good as Get Out, but it was still pretty enjoyable. What a lot of people seem to be talking about the film is that it's not good because the story is too far-fetched. But I was like, when did we start being like, wow, films need to be so realistic and you need to be able to pick apart every last detail.
Fucking horror film about doppelgangers.
It's a horror film about doppelgangers. It's literally a Twilight Zone episode, which Jordan Peele's actually making a reboot of. But it's literally,
really,
yeah, the Twilight Zone.
Is that a film or a TV show?
Oh, a TV show. Have you not watched the Twilight Zone?
No, I've watched the Twilight Zone.
Like,
I didn't know if he was making a film of it.
Oh no, it's a reboot TV series that's coming out. I think.
Is it going to be like Netflix or some shit?
No, CBS. It's on TV.
Oh shit, that's going to be. Oh, do they still own it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be trippy as fuck.
Yeah, and Jordan Peele's hosting it, and it's different stories and everything. And they've announced the cast and a few trailers. The problem is,
I just bought myself coffee.
The problem is with Jordan Peele though is that it's all American based, so we can't watch it yet.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we definitely will never use Putlocker or 123 movies.
Oh yeah, or Streamio or anything.
Never.
We don't advocate piracy, by the way. Don't pirate.
No, we just said we don't use them. You're not allowed to use them.
I know, we're not being sarcastic. Don't pirate films. It's very bad, and it doesn't it really helps.
Don't do it. Support your...
pretty much. Yeah, don't do it. It's still rule of thumb. But yeah, Us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the casting for Twilight Zone. I haven't even looked at it, but I'm guessing is it African American?
No.
Oh, so he's going out.
Jordan Peele. That's the one misconception that I don't like about.
Well, no, I just saw an article of him saying he's going to stick around African American casts, and I haven't got a problem with that.
I know.
But I'm just surprised after reading that to see. Oh no, he's not actually
because
doing that.
To be fair, the difference between Twilight Zone and the other stuff like Get Out and Us is that Twilight Zone is a host, and then it's different directors and different writers that go into it.
I thought he was going to be doing the whole thing.
Yeah, he's doing the whole. He's running the whole thing, but he's not going to be there writing and directing every single episode.
Okay.
He's got films to make. But that's the thing with Us and with Jordan Peele as a director. People seem to think that because it's Jordan Peele, there has to be a racial undertone to everything. Even though he said with Us, it's not that deep. He said it really isn't as deep as what people are taking it.
There was not many racial messages. It was cool when Fuck the Police came on.
Oh yeah, no, that was kind of funny. That was kind of funny, which is something that we will go into later.
Yeah, we'll go through the whole thing in a second. We're just talking about.
Pretty much, I think the thing with Us is that it's such a high concept idea that was, because doppelganger, has there been any doppelganger horror films that have been coming out?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is the second part, which we're going to be talking about later, but obviously my opinion is that the horror industry is fucking awful.
Yeah.
And the films that come out of that industry, 90% awful.
Yeah, like honestly, I'm going to say this, the last thing related to doppelgangers that I've seen was that episode of Doctor Who with the Sontarans in season 4.
Yeah.
Where it was a doppelganger of Martha, and I was like,
yeah,
man, I really wish there was more like,
it's such a unique form of horror, and I like that they made it so the doppelgangers actually they had human characteristics. So like the fact that they were underground and weren't with people.
Yeah,
who
and they
knew
copied
English.
they copied the exact movements of them overground, but they were like mindless.
Yeah,
I found that really like endearing.
I don't know if I was thinking too deep about the film, but I don't know if he was trying to say that there's a monster within all of us.
That's pretty much he even said that it's like monsters within everyone. Is that the people that were underground had no souls? By the way, we should have mentioned this already. Massive spoilers for us.
If you're watching this at this point,
if it goes without saying that if you're watching a Coffee Club podcast about a film, expect spoilers.
Every single episode and video we're gonna upload, it's gonna have spoilers on.
Yeah, so I'd say if you want to watch the film, then don't watch this unless you want an opinion on the film and what happened, so you get spoiled, kind of.
Can we just talk about the casting? The casting was so good.
The casting was the most on point casting. Jordan Peele has a thing with casting perfectly for films.
Yes,
like Get Out was so well cast. As in, we literally just watched the scene at the lunch scene between the family and Get Out.
Yeah,
that was so well done.
And the writing of Get Out is even better when you rewatch it, because
when you rewatch it, yeah.
I hadn't watched it since 2018, and I was watching it and I was thinking, holy shit, this is creepy as fuck, because you know their intentions. It's like you were saying at the scene where the policeman is taking the dude's ID, and the guy's like, obviously because it's a policeman, he's going to take your ID.
Yeah,
that's a normal thing that every police officer does, but the woman doesn't do it.
Rose comes in and says that, oh, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Fuck that, don't do that. At first you're like, oh, strong independent woman standing up for the black minorities, but then,
actually it's strong independent woman trying to fucking kill a minority.
Yeah, it's pretty much because it's like the way it's that spoilers for Get Out as well. The way in which they did this was that the policeman, as you've said before, policeman asked for Chris, who's the main character's ID. When you watch it the first time, you think it's like, oh, a policeman doing a thing because policemen are racist to black people in like we live in a society kind of thing. Yeah. But then you realize the reason why Rose stood up for him is so that there wouldn't be a paper trail leading to the house in the case that Chris went missing. Yeah. So that was like good hindsight writing.
You say that obviously you don't care too much about like his like intentions when it comes to race and his racial motives, but I think that's one thing he's really good at, because when you get some Disney films which try to incorporate a lot of like feminism and diversity,
and racial,
but sometimes it's like it's so in your face. It's annoying.
That's one problem people had with Captain Marvel. It was like it was very ham-fisted, like
especially with the trailers,
and not just the trailers. I think one of the scenes, like I know we're deviating, but this is kind of relevant to what we're going to talk about. But with Captain Marvel, especially with one that scene where she constantly falls down and crashes and everything. It felt if it hadn't had any other context other than it's just showing her failing and getting back up again, it would have been a cool scene. But then they added the undertone saying that, oh, you're a woman, you can't drive a car. It's like, come on, we get it.
But Jordan Peele is a fucking master of explaining like racial issues in America for African Americans,
and without making it like, oh wow,
he makes it interesting. He makes your mind think about actual racial issues in America. And obviously there aren't fucking people out there, well, I don't know if there are, but as far as I know, there aren't people out there who are trying to lure in black people so they can fucking take over their bodies. But it's like it's like the tones and some of the minor things in there it shows that there is still racism in the world.
And also it's the script as well, where some of the intricacies that he wrote in the script, people were like, oh, it's so ham-fisted, but even there he was making fun of the people who make their entire identity about politics. Like for example, when the father in Get Out said he'd vote for Obama for a third time. That kind of stuff.
It's literally, that is a thing. That's a fucking thing. Like when somebody, I remember it was ages. It might have been in uni, and I was sat down with a few mates, and we were just talking about politics. And one of our friends was black, and the other white fucking dude, just turns to him and says, "Oh yeah, I would have voted for Obama. I think it was Obama." And it's just like, well done. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I turned to you and said, "Hey Faf, I would have voted for Obama"?
Oh, that would be like, oh, okay, that's cool, thanks. It's like all right then.
If anything, these things in my mind are like, I'm not racist, but like it shows that you're making people uncomfortable, and like that's not what
exactly. And that's not what that's one thing that Jordan Peele did so well in like all of his films, especially Us, because Us wasn't really about race, but people who are watching it are now conditioned to think that every single one of Jordan Peele's projects is something to do with race or something like that, which is one thing that if we move into Us now, that film did a very good job in making it like, you know, it really isn't that deep. We're talking about stuff like, you know, racial prejudice, not even racial prejudice, like doppelgangers. What happens if there's a version of yourself that has no soul and is coming after you?
I don't think there was a single thing in the film to do with race,
apart from the fuck the police scene, which was funny in its own right.
Yeah, but that was funny. That was funny. Some people didn't like that scene, but I just like that scene because NWA is
so
sick.
Should we just go over the film from the beginning, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the way it started was the cold open where it was set in 1987 or something. It was around the 1987, 1989 or something, and it was in a beach, and it was the main character who's called Adelaide. She was there at the beach with the parents that were there, and it was like neglect, as in they weren't really talking to her much. It was her birthday. She had like a toffee apple and everything, and the parents were saying, let me try this thing. I think the dad was like, let me do whack-a-mole. And if you look at the whack-a-mole thing, he was really bad, while the other guy was like banging it out, like he was really good. And and Adelaide walks off on her own. At first, there's red flags. Why are you walking off on your own? You're like, why if you stick with your parents in a time like this in the night where it's thunder, don't walk away.
I guess like, kids do just do that. I used to do that as a kid. I didn't
really used to like wander off in like in a theme park as well.
I had a habit as a kid, genuinely. My parents tell me this. I remember some brief memories, but like, very vaguely. But it was like a case of like we would be in a very crowded place, even in like a city or a town, and I would just fucking wander off, and I don't know why I used to do it. I just used to stray off, and then I would go. I one time ended up in a police station because I got lost, and I tried to speak to somebody, and fucking thank God it wasn't a child snatcher, because I said I was lost and I lost my parents, and I ended up at a police station, and then my parents came and picked me up. In supermarkets, I used to always get lost, and it would be like, so and so come to the front because your son is here.
Oh, that must be embarrassing. It was like,
well, it's not embarrassing like now, and I wasn't embarrassed back then. No, the main one I know. This is video recorded, right?
Yep.
So we were on a ship, and we were going. It was like a 3-day cruise thing, but we were meant to land in a certain country. It might have been. I think we were going to France, but it goes round the ocean slowly. It's like a cruise, like a mini cruise, and I'm in my room with my two brothers and my sister, and my dad and my mum are in a separate cabin. And I get up, and this is all recorded. I get up and start arguing. I'm like 6 years old, and I start arguing with them. And I legit just like go. No, I might have been younger than 5, probably about 4.
You just argue about stuff at 4.
And it's about 3 a.m, and I just get up and fucking walk out, and I'm not wearing any clothes.
You're naked?
Yeah, I'm naked. And this is all recorded. And I'm just fucking apparent. And the bit where I'm walking round, but isn't. But apparently, there was like a signal on the ship of where the captain. I literally had walked into the captain or something. And my parents got called to the deck or some shit to pick up their son, who was walking around the ship naked.
I can imagine you walking naked around the thing, and you're just like, you're just in a bad mood. You're just like the moodiest.
That's what it was. Apparently, though, according to my dad, I think it's my dad or my mum, apparently I was like just constantly trying to talk to the dude and asking if I could drive the ship or some shit. I don't know. I was much more adventurous as a kid as I am now.
Yeah, which leads us back to them walking, like Adelaide walking on her own, and then she goes into a hall of mirrors. And the first thing I remember, one thing I hated about Get Out, and it's just one pet peeve, was the jump scares in Get Out. Apart from the really well done one where the deer runs across the car.
That's smart.
Yeah. There was a jump scare in Get Out where Georgina, who's like the black mother, the black, the woman that got lobotomized by the family. Chris walks in front of the camera, right? But then at the back, Georgina like just walks across the corridor, and there's like that jump scare sound. And you're just like, fuck off when you hear it.
Yeah. And there was also the one which we just saw of when he's watching. When she goes, I'll go get the dessert, and the door opens and she's just there.
She's just standing there. That was
in Peele's defense, it does shoot Get Out, but if he really wanted to, he could have put it in Us.
Yeah.
Maybe Us would have suited it even more.
I think in Us there was one jump scare, like that one first jump scare with the owl in the Hall of Mirrors. Yes. You know when the owl just popped out and you're just like, yeah. It's like when that happened, I was like, oh no, we're gonna get one of those jump scares. But then no other jump scares really happened.
I don't know if this is intentional genius, but maybe he meant it. So we have one jump scare, and then throughout the entire film,
you're on edge.
You're on fucking edge.
Yeah, I remember because I think after the owl jump scare happens, she walks through the Hall of Mirrors, and then she walks there. It's like you know, she hears whistling.
Yeah.
Or it's like, does she whistle first? She whistles first. She hears a whistle in response. And you're like, wait, there's someone there with her, and you're like, oh my god. Then she backs up into a wall where normally you'd see a reflection, but the reflection on the other side doesn't move. And then she turns around, and all of a sudden it just cuts. About 30 years later, and they're going to the same place. Why would they? I think one thing about Jordan Peele, one thing about Us that a lot of people critique about the film was how you had to have suspension of disbelief throughout the entire film. Because how is it? Doesn't they make a point about coincidences in the film? But how is it that 30 years later they come back to the same place as an entire family? And they're going there on holiday to the same beach with the same people at the same time as everything going on.
I think a lot of it was meant to be biblical.
Yeah, because Jeremiah 11 is like, is it verse 11?
Yeah,
it's like
and I think the whole concept of the Bible is this date is set and this date will happen.
And wait, no, something that's really quickly, I might search this right now, but there was something really interesting about Jeremiah. I can't remember because since I haven't read the Bible, I'm not a Christian.
Is Jordan Peele religious?
He's not religious. He's not religious.
Christianity in the Bible is just a very
I just typed in Jeremiah 11:11. It auto-completed and everyone's doing theories about it. But 11:11 means, let's see.
11:11, I swear used to mean luck. Like when it gets to 11:11, you close your eyes and you wish.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. So basically, it's like, bring evil into the world. I think it's still when that one guy who had the thing, it was really weird. I noticed that they lingered on that shot of the guy holding that box saying Jeremiah 11:11 for very long, and I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those things where it was like, you know, it's coincidence. She also said in the whack-a-mole right before, she said I'll take the 11 one as well. So I was like, whoa. And if you notice, I noticed a detail as well. The score on Whack-A-Mole when the camera changed was 11, I believe. So I think
it is all about coincidence.
Yeah, it's literally all about coincidences.
And I think that's like meant to back it even more in terms of the biblical thing.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of films and stories are based on religious texts, not just from Christianity, but from a lot of religions.
Yeah.
Even in Marvel, like gods and stuff, you know.
Yeah, gods and Zack Snyder really trying to do it in the Superman kind of thing.
Yes, he was trying to make
Superman into like that god figure where it was like God can be questioned kind of thing.
It's smart. It is smart because most of the world are religious, obviously.
I know, yeah.
So you're playing on their religion.
Yeah.
But
clowning on it.
I mean, I like Man of Steel and stuff. So yeah. Do you want to actually? We should probably talk about Zack Snyder in a bit because we
will get onto him because there's something very interesting that happened to him. Really, there's something very interesting that's happened to him recently, but we will get onto that after we've talked about.
I think I'm gonna burp.
That was brutal. Oh my god, I felt it from here. Oh my god, it's going over from here. But yeah, So before we go on to Zack Snyder and everything, I think as the film progresses and like us progresses, coincidences keep happening more and more. And then the little kid, one thing I really liked was that the child actors were actually good in this film.
So fucking good, man.
These kids, so good.
These kids, I hope they have a good.
They have a good like acting career because they were genuinely like they were one of the best parts of the film and everything because they sold the family thing.
The girl was really good.
Yeah, she's so good. And the one thing about having young, I'm not gonna say this. I would say young boys especially. I don't think it's about people having like young girls in like horror films. They don't really have much to do other than be creepy, pretty much, like young girls. When it comes to young boys, I've noticed in horror films, it's like especially like,
girls are easier to make creepier because they have high pitched voice.
Yeah, I know, but it's like with young boys. I remember watching Lights Out, and the child actor in Lights Out was so bad. It was like
child actors in most films are bad.
I know because it's very hard to do that kind of stuff.
What's this film where I can't even remember the name of the film? I was watching a video about a film where the child actors are terrible, and I cannot remember what it is.
There's loads of films where child actors are terrible. Where you can say Jurassic World.
Nah, I can't remember. Is Jurassic World the one that came out in 2016?
It came out in 20. Ooh, no, it came out in 2015.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was that's the one with fucking Chris Pratt, yeah?
Yeah, Chris Pratt.
The child actors in that are fucking shit.
Yeah, it's a far cry from having child actors from way before where they used
Macaulay
to be
Culkin, what a child actor.
Yeah, fucking
and he still could have a career.
He still got it.
It's weird because obviously Home Alone was so long ago.
It was
but he's still young.
But he's still, yeah.
He can... my predictions are Macaulay Culkin has a big return because he is getting. I don't know if it's noticeable to you, but it's noticeable to me. I don't know how the fuck we've gotten to Home Alone actors, but he's being more involved in the media. He's meeting up with more big people on YouTube. He went on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He's he's talking about his past and stuff. So
I think he's gonna have a blow up soon.
And he's done indie stuff as well.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a blow up soon.
I hope he does.
Yeah, I think in general, child actors, it's like us prove that you can. You under a good director, you can direct like child actors really well. Why
can't kids be good actors?
I know. I think it's because it's like their direction pretty much. There are lots of rules in the film industry put in place for child actors to be protected, which is why they never do stunts and everything.
There's also a very dark case of pedophilia in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. As in, we don't. It's like very.
It's obviously plagued the industry in Hollywood.
Yeah. So
Hollywood
recently, they want to protect children and everything. But I think
imagine being a kid actor whilst being like you're being molested at the same time. Like
that is fucking grim.
Yeah, exactly. That's honestly, I'm not saying it's 100% the reason, but that's probably a reason for a lot of child actors being shit because they're being thrown into these fucking horrible people directing them.
And also even that, it's like, so I wouldn't say because it's like we're kind of putting the whole thing about all directors being fucking nonsense.
Not all directors are nonsense, but there are quite a few.
Saying that the whole mindset behind doing a film in general is that if you have a friendly director who's got very good chemistry with the actors as well and as an actor themselves, they'd probably direct you a bit better than someone who goes there and says, do this.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's an actor himself. He's a writer himself. He's friends with pretty much all the cast members. He's like, it's like their mate.
Yeah, and that's what a director should be.
Yeah, as in you should be able to treat them as if like, your mate, act this well and then do this kind of stuff. Not like, this is your job, act.
You just look at it as when you were a kid, your favorite teacher was the one that you thought was your friend.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, Jordan Peele, I think Jordan Peele's like had his way with like, he has his way with acting as because some of the scenes in Us, as in if you continue on to the film when the doppelgangers first appear in the driveway.
That scene's fucking scary.
That scene is that scene generally, I remember I saw in the trailer. One thing I am very happy about is that the trailer, I'm gonna say this right now, the trailer did overplay the invasion, like the house invasion.
I went into it blind.
Yeah, Fraser went into it blind. I'd seen the trailer. So in the trailer when they move, when like the four are standing holding hands and all of a sudden they move. In the trailer, it's accompanied by a very loud banging sound and a bunch of screaming and everything. So I was expecting that throughout the entire scene where they were moving, and I was like, I was on the edge of my seat.
I was gonna say, I felt like that scene was the peak of the horror in the film, and then it got less scary.
Yeah, that's the problem, because when you introduce the whole doppelganger thing, you don't want to keep doing it. The mystery of the entire thing was what fueled the horror up until the fact that they got revealed. And I remember the audience immediately started laughing when Adelaide's doppelganger was speaking. And I was like, what? Yeah.
And this is where the problem of the tonal issues came in.
The tone of the film was very inconsistent, I think.
It was like it was trying to be a comedy horror.
Because that's the thing. Jordan Peele is a comedy writer. As in, he's a comedian and
everything.
It's funny and it was organic.
But the jokes worked, and that's very rare for a horror film. The jokes were funny.
It wasn't like a cutaway that they'd say like, oh, it was a quip. Like, that's disgusting.
Like
Winston Duke. Winston Duke. Yeah.
He was funny as fuck.
He's funny. He's goofy. He's like that goofy dad kind of trope.
And I think the comedy can still work in horror films, but I just think if the jokes were still there and it got rid of more light-hearted shit, then it would have been, because you can play dark jokes like he kind of did into it.
He doesn't Get Out as well. Like, he does comedy, but the comedy is organic enough to you to laugh, or you'll be like, huh.
Get Out is I would say Get Out is a masterpiece.
I'd say it's a masterclass in horror.
It's probably, I would say, it's my favorite horror film.
I'd say you haven't watched enough horrors to judge what is your favorite. I'd say Get Out is a good contender for the top 5.
You know how much I hate horror films.
Yeah, I know.
I've watched a lot. See, the reason I hate horror films is because when I was a teenager and I still am a young adult, but when I was in my teens, it was the main genre I used to watch. So I've watched
I can understand.
So many horror films. So many.
And you watched it at a time like that as well. So
I was watching horror film. Horror was my favorite genre between 2010 and 2015.
And that's the dark ages of horror, because every horror film that came out was shit.
The best horror film that came out between my years of horror.
Sinister?
Yes.
Sinister.
Yes. Sinister was good. Sorry.
I was going to say, what was about Sinister?
I was going to say, Sinister was good, but given the fact that Sinister was in the era of terrible horror films, I thought to myself back in the day that Sinister was genius.
Yeah.
But then I saw Get Out and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, that's like insane.
Yeah. I think Sinister is a masterclass in horror, like straight horror, because my God, watching those clips are creepy. But Get Out was more of like Jordan Peele was like an overall kind of director that proved that writing, he could make the writing scary other than just the atmosphere. And which is what I was going to say about Us. I think I was going to mention it. The tone in Us was like, after the family got revealed and everything, and they revealed that doppelgangers are all around the place, it instantly just got lighthearted and jokey. Like, you knew that it was like, these characters literally, I think, spoilers, but I think the moment that Pluto, the kid Jason and that other kid, like his doppelganger, went into that room and were doing the magic trick and everything, that's when I thought to myself, this is when the film turns into a completely different film.
Yeah. And there's one quip I said to you in the cinema, didn't I? Yeah. I said to you, the most overused joke in film right now is when the fucking Alexa?
Yeah, Alexa, or it was Ophelia. It was Ophelia in that film.
When they're machines that you can speak to say something when you want speaking to them. It's the most overused joke.
Yeah, because it started with like 2013 Vine when it was like, say, do this, and then Alexa says, okay, buying a PS4 for £200 million, and you're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. But it was like such an overused joke.
Yeah, because in the film, what happened was the other white family there, they got stabbed by and like their throat slit by the doppelgangers, and that was I actually really liked that scare, because it was like you weren't seeing it coming. It wasn't a loud sound. All you did was the camera panned up and you saw the doppelgangers and you're like, wait, fuck, and then they just get killed. Now, as the mother's still alive and she crawls across the ground for like mercy, and then she asks the Alexa thing there to call the police, to which the Alexa thing responds with, okay, playing Fuck the Police by NWA. The audience laughed, but me and Fraser just looked at each other and we were just like,
Yeah, if NWA came on in another way, because I liked the NWA when they were killing them.
Yeah,
when the main family came in and it was playing to NWA. That was cool, man.
That is a mad statement. It was like you liked it when the NWA started killing them. Yeah, but yeah.
But it kind of drives into the point of like, I feel like the reason horror between 2010 and 2015 was so bad is because of the evolution of modern technology and social media.
Yeah, so it made people want to go like, let me try and copy that kind of stuff, which is why I didn't like about
remember Unfriended?
Unfriended. Oh, God, I do not want to talk that film.
Mobile phones and Macs and all that shit started a trend of the same horror films. Smart houses, when the lights in the houses turn off and everything, and the houses are like glass.
Or like mobile phone, like your phone signals out. Wait, that means I can get 4G or something like that. So
technology is so vital to so many horror films, and it's not just 2010. Blair Witch Project, good horror film, relied on
okay horror film.
Yeah, well, good for its time.
Yes,
because it was actually unique.
It was good. Paranormal Activity, the first one, and I think the first three, arguably the first three,
films relied all on technology.
Exactly.
And then Get Out. I mean, okay, the oldest,
to an extent,
but for 90% of the film does not rely on technology
at all. It's psychological horror. It's like it fucks with you.
That's what horror should be. And whenever a horror film doesn't rely on technology, that it makes sense. Now, if it was Alien or fucking The Martian, is that a horror film?
Martian is mainly.
I've never watched it, but
no, it's not horror. It's sci-fi. It's
what's that film where they go onto they go onto like the moon and they find?
That's Apollo 18. That was shit.
It was shit. It was shit. But I'm saying, like, films like that, though, if they're scientists and they find like an alien,
Life. I remember that film. Life. It was with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, and Rebecca Ferguson. Life.
That's a really good cast.
Yeah, it was. I'd say that film was genuinely one of those scientists. Like, wow.
And science films, that makes sense when the narrative is based on technology. Fair enough. But when your film is a grounded film and then everything that's scary happens because somebody fucking called you on FaceTime, but it's not actually somebody calling you on FaceTime.
It's like a creepypasta thing. It's like, who was phone? It's like, I don't like it.
Creepypastas ruined horror.
That genuinely, I'm going to get onto this in a bit, but with us, that's with technology kind of tonal shift in the film. Because when the NWA started playing and they were like doing that kind of stuff, at first I was like, this is a clever writing trick, because before in the film, Adelaide called the police. She asked her to call the police and everything, and like Winston Duke's character was like, oh, nah, don't worry about it. There shouldn't be much of a problem because the police are coming anyway.
I even turned to you and said, where's the police?
Exactly, you said, where's the police? And then when Fuck the Police played, they were literally, it mirrored what the audience were being like. They were like, fuck the police. They didn't arrive when they called her, and when they do, Alexa doesn't do anything. But then you realize this is a wider issue because it's happening across America, so the cops couldn't come anyway.
And I think that's why he had to make it such a big thing, because it wouldn't have worked if it was everyone.
If it was just like,
if the police turned up in 5 minutes, they would have shot them dead.
They would have shot them dead because it's invaders and everything. But if they made it like, it's based on, I read about this, but it's actually based on, the Hands Across America thing in the beginning of the film, that advert. That was an actual thing that happened in the 1980s. That was a real thing where they had, the campaign was to get people to join hands across the whole of America.
Why?
I can't remember what it was protesting,
something
but it was together.
Race?
It wasn't race. It was just completely. I can't remember
that final shot when they were all doing it.
Yeah, no, that was basically what the 1980 thing was trying to do, but never got that far. This one was kind of, that's why I think towards the end of the film it got a bit weird, which is why the tonal shift I wasn't really a big fan of. Because remember when they started killing the family and they had everything and they were stabbing each other and everything, and then when they go into the car they make a joke about how it's like, I'm driving the car because I've got the highest kill counts in the family, like, and it was like, how many kills do you have? It felt weird. It was in character, but if I wouldn't even say in character, I'd say that was a bit odd, because it's like, I'm driving the car because I killed the most people in my family. I was like, after a traumatizing night where you've seen your doppelgangers chase after you and murder someone.
And it was very strange as well, because it was like, there were some moments of where, the moment of where the mum is killing one of the younger girls,
the twin,
and she's getting really aggressive when
like
she's doing
stabbing her to death.
And I know it goes with the twist. In fact, I didn't even think about it, but it also shows, like, because they were all getting into the killing, and that shows a darker side to humanity, and that's what it should have been about fully in my eyes. So when they're doing these things and then they're like, I've got a high kill count, it's like,
whoa.
It doesn't match the tone.
It doesn't match it because it's like, you've just done this, so let me just say like, oh, look, I just killed these people. Well, what a joke, that kind of stuff. I also felt that towards when I remember that little boy, like the Jason, his character, it felt really weird for me because it was like, you know, they had to, as in Jordan Peele had to try and speed things up a bit because they shouldn't still be confused about what's going on. Yeah. Like, you know, the scene where it looked like, you know, when the kid was going to burn the car and everything, you thought that car was going to blow up because the gasoline thing and the way the camera was working. But one thing I felt weird about it, the scene was kind of cool looking, but when Jason started walking back and then the other kid was walking back into the fire, I felt that was a bit weird as well. I think that's one of the problems that I had about Us. It was like, Jordan Peele tried to go for, you know, it was a high concept idea, but you need to suspend your disbelief or else it's going to end up, you're going to be asking so many questions because the ending of the film, I think the ending was my biggest problem with the film. So leading up onto it, Jason gets kidnapped. Adelaide has to now go and rescue Jason.
Yeah, the final act wasn't very good.
So Adelaide has to rescue Jason because her doppelganger has abducted him, and she goes back into the Hall of Mirrors from the beginning of the film. When she goes back into the Hall of Mirrors, the first tip towards the twist is that she knows where she's going immediately. She immediately finds the directions. She's not like feeling around the place. She immediately goes to the mirrors and everything. The second tip off, though, that the ending was a bit weird, was when she finally finds a doppelganger, and then the doppelganger starts explaining away the entire, dumping exposition. It felt so unlike the rest of the film, where it's like, you need to find an idea because people are going to start asking questions like, where did all these doppelgangers come from? And it was like, it
was just a big expedition.
So it was like, let me explain it away by saying that, it was a government experiment gone wrong. And I felt that was a bit odd for them to say.
Wait, is that what it was?
It was a government experiment to control the human population. I mean, so it was an experiment by the government to control the population of America by making clones somehow.
So it was only an American thing.
Yeah, so only an American thing. And then they failed, so they kept all of them underground, and they were mirroring all the acts. Like, for just a side note about that scene, they used a technique that I hadn't been seeing in many films, where both the foreground and the background are in focus. Like, it wasn't VFX. That was like the way the camera was doing. Yeah. As in, they were standing there, but they both focused on them at the same time. I think it's called a split diopter effect. That's a quick fun fact of the day. Go Google that if you want to. But when she was explaining away how the Americans had the experiment and that went wrong, I felt that was weird. That's like her just going like, you know, experiment gone wrong. Let's do. It was literally a Gamers Rise Up moment where it was like, you know, I came with knowledge on how to function as a human society. So I got the twist is that the main character Adelaide has actually been the doppelganger this whole time, which explains a lot in the previous film. Like, she couldn't, not previous film, but in the previous hour of the film, like, she couldn't talk after she got abducted and everything. But that's because she was learning the language. She was a doppelganger. She couldn't speak English. She swapped places in that scene at the very beginning of the film, meaning that the doppelganger grew up with a new family, whereas the actual person in the beginning of that film grew up around doppelgangers who couldn't speak. And since she got strangled and she was with people who couldn't speak, she herself could only speak in like a hoarse kind of voice. So when that exposition happened, they then had a fight. And that felt, as in, the music was like, whoa, the music blew out the speakers and sounded good, but that fight felt really weird. As in, I did.
See, I try not to speak too much during the film because we were sat next to, it was weird because we were in a cinema which was pretty empty, but these two people just decided to sit next to us.
Yeah,
maybe they were our doppelgangers.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I couldn't really say much during it, but I kept looking at you, like being like, what's going on here? Because the final act, it put me off because the film was so scary. It was so tense and everything was so good, but it's weirdly had a bit of a drop off. And
I think that was the third act drop off, because one thing that Get Out did so well was that the third act was so satisfying to watch. But with Us, I think he tried to get that same thing, but the problem is he tried to go for one of those downer kind of endings where you're like, wait a second, is the ending really happy or is it more bittersweet? I was like, with Get Out it was a happy ending apart from the alternate cut, but it was like
he was experimenting his writing, and it was a really good idea which wasn't executed perfectly. Yeah, it was still good.
Yeah, I was like, if Jordan Peele had played it out like a Twilight Zone or a Black Mirror episode, people would be more accepting as the film other than just a high concept doppelganger thriller. Yeah. So I'd say in general, like with the twist as well, you can see that Jason knew. Like the kid knew.
That was cool. I liked that.
I like that. I like that they made the character smart, as in he deduced that from what he saw, like when she started like screaming and was like animalistic.
Not just dumb kids.
Yeah, it was like it's clearly not there.
That kid, he was the most consistent character throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he was the most consistent because he was there when he wasn't really killing people. He was just saying that he was trying to like save people,
and he had a connection with his own doppelganger.
Yeah, all of them did, but he had more of them because his doppelganger
more
was
of a peaceful connection.
Yeah, he had a peaceful connection.
Whereas the girls was fucking.
Yeah, the girl was that was creepy as fuck.
The girl was fucking really creepy.
Yeah, as in the other one,
even
the
death
doppelganger.
Was creepy.
Her death was creepy because I was like, wait, what happened to her? Because it wasn't clear.
She just got killed in the tree.
She got impaled by the tree.
Impaled by the tree.
Yeah, because I was wondering what happened. Why is she like that? Did nothing happen? Because why is she moving about? I was like, wait. Because when the way she flew off the car, I was like,
I didn't think it was going to kill her.
I didn't think it was going to kill her either.
Maybe, yeah.
I thought the jump scare was actually still alive and then she finishes the job, but no, it just didn't do anything.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get past the cliche that she would still be alive.
Yeah, but I think that was kind of funny where he was walking. It's like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'd say as a film, Us is not as tight as Get Out, but it was still enjoyable.
It's still probably going to be the best horror this year.
That is. You say that, but I think quite good horror films are coming out. Like Guillermo del Toro is making, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. He's a very, very good horror series. I think he's adapting them. Like it's like different stories. It's like Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids, but gone up to like 18 rated. But
what is it just going to
be? Scary Stories. It's literally Scary Stories. It's like creepypastas, but good. That's kind of all
you haven't sold me. Yeah, I wasn't a very good seller.
Did Guillermo del Toro not sell you? Do you know the director of Shape of Water?
I know who he is.
Yeah. It's hard to do without watching. I think you should just watch like all we've got is like, if you're familiar with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, you'd probably enjoy the film coming up because it's genuinely good. Yeah. The problem is I can't sell it as a standalone. So I think that is it for the Us conversation. Should we move over to what's happened recently in the news with regards to DC?
I think we should speak, because I wanted to speak about the horror genre for a bit.
Because DC, although that kind of leads into DC because it kind of leads in because DC is now run by horror genre directors. So it's
really?
James, the team behind the Conjuring franchise now runs DC instead of Zack Snyder. But it's like,
is Snyder no longer part of it then?
Yeah, I kind of freaked it.
I didn't know what he was doing because it's. Wait, are we talking about horror or are we talking about Snyder?
No, I just said that something. So we will get to Zack Snyder in a bit. But in terms of the horror genre, we can talk about how horror genre is having a massive resurgence recently. I've said this in one of my videos. I think it's having a resurgence because of Jason Blum. Paramount made the biggest mistake of their lives firing Jason Blum from their studio because he went on to make Blumhouse Productions, studio notorious for financing low-budget horror films, getting a massive profit from them. And he's selective. He goes to any director. Like, if you have a good concept, he'll come to you and you'll be like, hey, you want to make it into a film? Sure. Here's some money. Make it into a film. Here's the cast. He's Jason Blum. I think if we can attribute the growth of the horror genre to Jason Blum, I think, because a lot of the films that you've seen has the Blumhouse Productions line. Even films that aren't even horror, like Whiplash, that's Blumhouse.
Whiplash is fucking dope.
Whiplash is a class film. It's not a horror film, but Jason Blum was behind it. Like, he was one of the producers. I really think that horror genre had a dark ages. Same with like games and film had a.
It started with Paranormal Activity 2. Even though
do you say 2?
I like that film.
I think Paranormal Activities 1 and 2 were good, but that's because Paranormal Activity 1 made so much money. 3 was good. 4 was shit.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh my god,
which
4
one was
horrible.
the one where it was randomly in fucking Mexico?
That's the Marked ones.
What
That's
a weird film.
That
man.
was weird, but I feel like that was a good explanation to what happened in the third one, because that led into the third one. But I felt like I watched it.
Have they given up with the franchise?
No, it finished. They had the final film, and the final film was horrible.
What the fuck was that?
It was Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension in 3D. It was like
The Ghost Dimension
in 3D.
What? It's so wank, man.
It's like no. The problem is the Paranormal Activity was so scary because that people thought the first film was real. It was done. It was so well done. Yeah. No.
So like a fucking what's it called again? What's that film I literally mentioned?
Like Blair Witch Project. Like
people thought that was
it was
real.
the modern. That was at the time a modern day Blair Witch Project. People thought Paranormal Activity was real. It was so genuinely. I went into that blind. I didn't watch a trailer, but I saw the poster. That's the first time a horror poster has actually kind of creeped me out.
Yeah, because it was a room.
It was just a room, and they were just there in the bed, and there's a shadow, but there's no one there with an empty hallway.
Please. Can more horror people, if you're going to make a film like that, make it look real?
Yeah, I think that's the problem though. It's very hard to make it look convincing. The last time a horror director did something which was like, people thought it was gonna be the film, but it wasn't. Was Adam Wingard with the Blair Witch remake? They knew that they couldn't make it real. I
watched it. Was it good?
No, it was shit.
It was called Blair Witch.
Yeah, I know. It was like, I think they tried to go for the modernization for it, and I thought it was enjoyable the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I realized just how shit it was. In general as a narrative.
Just watch Blair Witch.
So what happened was, it's on Netflix as well, but with Blair Witch.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Blair Witch is on Netflix.
So
the way they marketed the film was on a completely different name called The Woods. It was just called The Woods.
What, Blair Witch?
Yeah. So what happened is,
I might know about that.
The first trailer, it said like something's evil is hiding in the woods, and you're like, oh shit, this looks like a good and original found footage horror film, because like the trailer had like
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so the trailer had like the typical, the slow woman singing a rendition of a 80s song, and it was like every step you take, I'll be watching you, and I'll be like, that was creepy. I was like, wow, good trailer. Then I never heard anything about the film ever again until San Diego Comic-Con. So at Comic-Con, that video, I think that was a really good marketing strategy. I think you should all really watch The Woods or watch Blair Witch 2016 behind the scenes, because the way they marketed that film was genius. What happened was, people walked into the cinema. You know how the cinemas have the posters and like the promotionals for the film. Like when we went to see Captain Marvel, it had the poster. So they had the big poster like pull up of the word The Woods, and they went into the cinema. Then the film started, and about 20 minutes in, like snap, the twist happens. Like you realize this is Blair Witch. This is a Blair Witch film, because it shows a clip from the Blair Witch Project, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? This is a Blair Witch film. People then were like, people were genuinely excited. They walked out the cinema after the film ended. Every advertisement in the cinema changed from The Woods to Blair Witch. Every social media that The Woods was on was changed to Blair Witch 2016.
That's fucking cool.
That was a cool marketing strategy. It's a shame the film was so bad.
Why was it bad?
So what happened was, they tried to capture the magic of the first Blair Witch film by having
Which you can't, because it was unique.
Yeah, because they couldn't have it so that the actors were unknown. It was James Allen McCune was the main character in the film, so it was like you couldn't say like, oh, he literally got killed by a witch. It's like, yeah, it was like they modernized it. So what they did was they started using like DSLRs and high quality film cameras and drone shots and everything.
Not that scary then.
Yeah, but the problem is with the drone shots and stuff, that was cool how they actually made it canon to the film. Like they made it so they flew a drone up and they looked at the woods
to see what was happening.
Yeah, so I was like, cool shots. That's cool. What you should do. The problem is though, as the film progressed, it went into typical horror film territory. You know how Blair Witch Project, people are angry at the film now because it literally fucking nothing happened until the end. This one, they decided, let's have Blair Witch on steroids. So it's like jump scare after jump scare after jump scare.
Do you actually see it?
Well, I saw it.
No, do you actually see the witch?
that is what I was going to get onto.
Oh, they don't show the witch.
So what happens is, after jump scares and after one of the coolest deaths in the film, as in, I don't know whether, are you going to, do you want me to spoil it or anything? But it came out in 2016. So one of the deaths was that they had, the Blair Witch symbol with the stick, like, the stick.
Yeah.
Now, they had a bunch of them around the place, and one of the girls picks it up, and one of the girls gets angry, saying that, oh, you did this, you're just pranking us, you're lying to us. So she gets one of the sticks and snaps it in half, and when it snaps it in half, the woman in front of her, like the girl in front of her who picked up it, snaps herself in half. It's like a voodoo doll. I thought that was the coolest death in the film.
Smart.
They spoiled it in the trailers, by the way. So if you've watched the trailer, yeah.
Thank you, Marvel. We haven't spoken about Marvel yet, but thank you to Marvel for making trailers good again.
Yeah.
Whatever, just good in general.
Because, I was like
now because of Marvel making these trailers where things aren't spoiled.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's kind of following up with the whole thing as well. Like, it's not a coffee club podcast if we don't talk about Marvel. So it's like,
I mean, we're gonna get into superheroes in a minute,
but it's like,
who wants to watch a trailer where they spoil everything?
And everyone complains about that now when it's like spoiling. With Blair Witch, people complained that literally about 3 deaths were spoiled in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it was like, why the fuck would you do that? But anyway, with the film towards the end, they're stuck in a house where it's an infinite loop, and it's the same house from the first film, and you're like, oh god, this is the same house. But then you see something, the way they do it is that it's like a blur. So it's like a blur, and it's like this one long-legged thing that just goes there, and then the character screams and then moves the camera away. And I was like, everyone was pissed off because they were like, that's the witch. This lanky, slender woman thing
Shouldn't
is
show
the witch. No, and then
the witch isn't shown in the first film, right?
Not at all. Not at
That's
all.
what is fucking scary. You don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, but then the director and the writer came out to say that wasn't the witch. That was just a zealot. It was one of the proxies of the witch. I was like, no, that was the witch.
Shut up, man.
He was trying to say, oh, that wasn't the witch. I was like, no, that was the witch. You're trying to backtrack now. It's like you tried to say that was the witch and be like, it's a scary reveal for like half a second, and you're like, nah, that just didn't work. But yeah, that's the problem with the Blair Witch. It was like, it went too much into modern horror film found footage territory where it was fake jump scares and everything.
Do you think that found footage films haven't been utilized yet?
No, there's a film called As Above, So Below. That film it's on Netflix as well, but that film was a case study in how to do a very, very good found footage film, then fuck it all up in the end.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah.
That happens a lot.
It's the ending.
Is VHS good? The film VHS?
Yes. VHS 1 and 2 are good. 3 is very shit. Do not watch it. 2 had one of the best short horror films
Is VHS
I've ever
the Spanish one?
It's not Spanish. It's a.
There's a horror film which is found footage.
It's
Spanish.
an anthology. It's basically VHS.
Do you know what I'm talking about? There is a found footage which is Spanish.
Wreck.
Yes.
VHS is the anthology horror films where there's like 10 different directors, 10 different horror stories in one film, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
VHS 1 and 2 are good. Cannot recommend it enough. Probably not on Netflix here, but if you do, watch the film when you get the chance. It's genuinely amazing.
I haven't watched it.
Wreck is probably one of the scariest films I've watched.
My friend always says this to me, but it's Spanish, right?
Yeah, Spanish.
Yeah. And he says, always just watch it, but I'm not Spanish, man.
No, watch it.
Really?
It doesn't. It's so. Don't watch the American remake as well.
The Americans fucking remade it.
Yeah, it's called Quarantine. It wasn't good. As in, it was good.
Quarantine. They made a second one as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that one was when they
used to be on Netflix all the time.
That one was when they decided we're not going to copy Wreck anymore. The first one was a direct. You say about trailer spoiling the film. The fucking poster spoiled the very last shot of the film.
Jesus.
You know, it's like the iconic shot, as in, Wreck has come out years ago, so if you haven't watched it, cover your eyes, your ears, or whatever. But I'm gonna say the spoiler. The very last shot of the film is iconic. It's like it's a night vision camera.
It's green, isn't it?
It's pitch black to the main characters, and she's looking at the camera, and she's like, she doesn't know what to happen. Then suddenly she just gets dragged away, and it's like, holy shit. It just ends like that, and you're like, oh my god, what have I just watched?
Yeah.
Then it's
the poster.
The poster for Quarantine is literally that scene, and you're like, what? Why did you spoil that? That's an iconic scene, and you spoiled it. Yeah. That's like spoiling like Thanos snapping his fingers in the Infinity War.
Yeah, legit, it is that, or Thor arriving in Wakanda.
It's like, literally, if they had the poster for Infinity War, just had nothing but a picture of Thanos snapping his fingers.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Or of him with the axe in his chest.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? It's like, why would you think that was a good idea to do in the first place?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, Wreck, I'd say I cannot recommend that film enough. As in, people seem to think, oh, I'm not Spanish, so I can't watch it. It's got subtitles. And
I am actually Spanish.
I know, and people watch. And
maybe I should sit down and watch it.
Try and watch it without.
Next time I go to see my Spanish family, I was like, hey, do you want to watch a horror film?
Yeah. And they don't. And honestly, I think Wreck is one of the most believable kind of films because none of the characters deserve it.
See, I wanted to move into the final part for my rant about horror films being shit.
Yep.
Alien films. Why is there not more?
Because it's hard. Life, and it's on Netflix as well. I suggest you watch Life. Life is one of the most recent alien life form horror films that have been. It's very well done. People think it was, but I think it was very well done for what it is. Smart scientists that were smart-ish. Sometimes they made really stupid decisions, but smart scientists, and it's an alien life form that slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're like, oh my god, like holy shit, that's scary as hell. I think alien horror films just don't do well because Alien was so good. The first Alien was so good. So,
to my homies listening, the reason I think alien films are also shit is because, well, they are. When was the last good alien film?
Alien.
I mean, Aliens.
Aliens is more of an action film.
Yeah. It is.
I'd say. Well, I wouldn't say that. I'd say Alien films recently. I don't know whether there's been a reason because I can't. The Alien franchise hasn't been good.
What's his name?
The director.
Nah, that fucking bloke that wrote Split.
Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan.
He wrote Signs, didn't he?
Signs.
And that film had loads of potential. Have you watched Signs?
I've watched Signs.
And
people say that. Do you know that scene? That scene was like, you know, the icon. That iconic scene where the van, when they show the alien. People said, "Oh, that was scary and everything." But I went into that film blind without knowing about it. And when that alien popped up, I was just like,
as a kid, that was scary.
As a kid, it might be scary, but a lot of these people have been playing it up.
Dude. As the scene, that kid used to shit. I had nightmares about the fucking scene.
Oh, to be fair, the alien. I don't think it's maybe just be with aliens or something like that. But it's like the only alien that actually genuinely scared me was the Xenomorph because it was like I think it was because I played Alien Isolation as well.
That's the scariest alien-related thing we've had in years.
Yeah, it really is.
Alien
so it's
Isolation.
Like,
I cannot complete that.
I keep swiveling my microphone around.
Same. Yeah, I've never completed Alien Isolation.
You've never completed it?
I can't complete it
because
it's too fucking scary.
Oh my god!
I sat there with my Razer headphones on.
Yeah.
In pitch black, and I'm so you saw me in a cinema. I cannot look at screens when I know there's going to be a jump scare. And that game is 15 hours of avoiding jump scares.
Yeah, and not even that. It's like with Alien Isolation, I think the thing about that game, and shout out to the lads at Creative Assembly for developing that game. I see you guys.
Yeah,
but it was like
what a creation.
Yeah, well, and also I remember when I was there when they told us they won the award for best sound design because the sound design's mental in that game.
It's just an alien film. That's what it is.
That it is an alien film. It's canon because they literally got
it's canon.
Yeah, they got Sigourney Weaver to literally redo the voice from her log on the alien from that game. She's in that game.
It's perfect. It's the perfect horror game.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking tense and so spooky.
And the AI is. I think one bad thing about the game that people thought was that the AI is too unforgiving. But imagine you being there with an alien like that. An alien. Yeah, that shit would be hard to survive. That's the whole idea. It's like it's like, you know.
Yeah, Xenomorph is like meant to be.
Yeah, but Xenomorph is just like the one thing that scares me because A, they're fast as fuck, and B, it's like they're literally unstoppable.
Yeah. Unless
you blow them out into space or something like that. But yeah, in terms of like horror films, it's like alien films as in they don't do well. So speaking of aliens, Krypton aliens and shit, DC superheroes. Shazam's coming out soon.
Oh god, yeah, I can't. I know that sounded.
That
sounded really negative.
That sounded really negative. But like, oh my goodness, Shazam looks really good. The review says it's the best one since Dark Knight. So
really,
yep.
Shall I look at right now? Get Rotten Tomatoes up for sure.
Yep, it's in the 90s. It's in the 90s right now. With 40 something reviews, it's in the 90s.
Do you reckon it's gonna make $1 billion?
I think it's. Ooh, no.
You don't.
I don't. Do you know why? I won't even say 800 million. I'd say 600 million.
It's got 92%.
Yep.
It'll go down as more reviews. It'll go down. I'm gonna go for an 84.
84. Yeah. I don't think it'll make $1 billion because you've got Endgame coming out literally 4 weeks later.
Poor fucking DC, man.
The moment they make Warner Bros.
Yeah, true.
Because before that, yeah,
but DC are the ones with the creative minds to this. Yeah, shit. I know. Warner Bros. Is just the people that make the money.
It's like because Shazam is there. And then they've got Godzilla and Pikachu releasing next month while Endgame is still in cinemas.
They finally made a. Well, not finally, because I like a few DC films. But they made a really good DC film. And then Marvel would just be like, hey, here's the conclusion to every single Marvel film so far.
Yeah, fuck you guys. Yeah. You don't deserve to make any money.
I mean... Marvel will always be like, oh no, we love DC, we want them to do well, but it's like, Kevin Feige, don't lie to me, man. I know what you're doing.
You don't lie to us. Yeah. Like, you can fool them, but you can't fool us. It's like, we know that you want the best for Marvel and you want Marvel to succeed. So I get you get that petty kind of pride when you see Endgame just there making $2 billion while DC stuck with their only $1 billion film in 6 years.
I can't believe Infinity War made. Well, I can believe it made 2.2 billion, 2.3.
No, 2.2 billion. It has not outgrown Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Will Endgame? You don't think it will?
I will. No, I now believe it will. I'm in that firm belief. I'm in that firm camp that I will overtake it.
I'm so worried that we're not going to get tickets for the cinema we want to go to.
Imagine while we've been recording this, the tickets have been released.
I'd kill myself. Yeah. I just feel like the people going to that cinema are going to be like normies. I hate that word.
Yeah, no, not normies.
So I feel like, but just people going to cinemas in general, most people, I don't know actually, because usually for a cinema and a film, usually the people aren't, everyone isn't there. There's only a minority of people who are going to book, waiting on the minute to book tickets.
Yeah.
I will be waiting on the minute.
I will be waiting on the minute as well. Yeah, I think they're coming out on April the 2nd.
Have they not even announced when tickets are coming?
Nope, no announcement. It's going to be they released last time it was an Avengers TV spot and then the trailer and then the tickets dropped.
So the moment, is there like an announcement like, hey, tickets coming out 2 days?
No, what happens is Fandango, who are the people who manage all the tickets in American cinemas, will say keep your eyes peeled. Last time with Infinity War, they said keep your eyes peeled, and then the trailer dropped, and then no one knew tickets were out until they refreshed Fandango and it said tickets were there, and also the end of the trailer had tickets now available.
What about us then?
I think we did know it. Just go to BFI's website and then keep refreshing. That's pretty much it. When a trailer drops or when Marvel tweets it out. You think there's going to be
another trailer?
There will. A TV spot. It's a TV spot. There's only 2 trailers.
But there's been 2 trailers.
I know. 2 trailers and like loads of TV spots.
Oh, okay.
Like TV spots are like the 30-second ones. They're gonna do that again. So I think it's gonna be April 2nd though. I have my eyes on April 2nd. Also, one thing unrelated, I'm gonna quickly do it. How long has this been going on for?
It's been going for an hour.
I'd say one thing I wanted to just quickly go on to was Zack Snyder and his comments about the DC thing. Have you seen it in the news?
Seen it. What did you think about it? We should explain it first, shouldn't we?
Okay, so in a very sweary rant, Zack Snyder
was drunk, to be fair.
Yeah, I know, but Zack Snyder mentioned saying that, you need to wake the fuck up and understand that Batman does kill people. And I was like, at that statement, I was
High Top Films in tears.
Oh, the Brown Table and Cosmonaut, right?
Did they make videos about it as well?
I think
I know High Top Films made a video, but Batman does not kill.
Cosmonaut literally dedicated a full segment in talking about how Batman's character was fucked in the new DCEU.
Yeah, I mean,
and in the Dark Knight as well.
I think what?
He said Batman's character, technically speaking, is not true to the comics in the Dark Knight trilogy. Okay. That's what you're saying. Like he's saying, yeah.
I think, in some aspects, I can go with Zack Snyder in this, because I think if you're a writer and you get given a character, I mean, I don't know, because can you change the basis of a character? Because
as long as you make it enjoyable, that's the problem.
Yeah, because you take Guardians of the Galaxy. The films are completely different to
the comics.
I'm pretty sure in the films, obviously he's the son of Ego, but he's not. I don't think he is that in the comics.
He's not the son of Ego in the.
And that's completely changing his character arc and him as a character.
Yeah.
But Captain America is the same character, just with an actor, obviously.
Yeah, righteousness and everything.
Yeah, and he's the same thing throughout the whole thing.
But
his experiences with life changes with post 9/11 America.
Yeah.
So I think writers should be allowed to change characters.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You need to change them in such a way that they stay true to themselves and not change their ideals, which is why people were mad about Batman, because Batman's entire identity as a vigilante is based on his own parents dying, yes, and he uses that to go out as like, you know, Caped Crusader and not kill anyone, because he's not as bad as those people who killed his parents.
I think the main argument is that if he kills people, he's no different to any other superhero.
Exactly. Like, people say, oh, I hate this trope when it's like, oh, if you kill him, you're just as bad as them. It's like, Batman's literal identity is like, if he kills, he's just as bad as the people he's apprehending.
Yeah, I mean, I do still stick by writers should be able to rewrite characters, but again...
But not Zack Schneider. I'm just going to say that.
But rewriting, I don't know. Maybe there's some characters you can't.
Yeah, like, one thing I'm going to say
Sorry, but I guess Guardians are smaller to Batman.
Yeah, and also it was a gamble when the film came out. So, and also it was under a good director. Problem is, Zack Schneider, on the other hand, the only good film I'd say he's directed is the opening credits to Watchmen.
But why? I was on Twitter, and everyone in the DC fandom acts like Zack Snyder's a god. Because
that is delusion.
Is that genuinely a thing?
It is delusion. I know it is genuinely a thing. People are saying, oh, where's the Snyder cut? Snyder's just misunderstood. He's like, it's genuinely, I'm not going to lie. People make the meme about Rick and Morty being the high IQ thing, but everyone in the DC community is like saying Zack Snyder is just, you need to have a high IQ to understand Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman and all that kind of films, because they think people look in the comment. In fact, you guys, I've got a challenge for you. Look in the comments of any official clip or any movie clip from one of Zack Snyder's films, especially Watchmen and Batman v Superman. Look in the comments. Try not to lose brain cells reading those long paragraphs saying, oh, this is like Batman's the antithesis to this character. Zack Snyder truly evokes a feeling of regrets and everything.
It legit, Marvel and DC is the case of the big bully is now being outshined by the nerd, and they are losing their fucking minds. The nerd is obviously Marvel, and DC used to be the big fucking boy.
Yeah, no, DC used to be like, you know, look at me with my big Batman, fucking bollocks, Superman, with my fucking Dark Knight and my Oscar-winning film and like Oscar-nominated Suicide Squad.
We still don't have a Marvel film with an Oscar, do we? No, oh, Black Panther. Yeah.
Black Panther fucking swept. And also Infinity War. But Black Panther fucking...
It does leave a sour taste in my mouth that it's Black Panther that got it, though.
Yeah, I know. If it was any film, I'd say Winter Soldier. Actually, no, fuck. No, not Winter Soldier, because Winter Soldier, I'm trying to think as the most competently made. Infinity War.
Infinity War, yeah.
I'd say because Infinity War as a film was a filmmaking achievement, and that should have been lauded.
But a film like that can't really win many Oscars because it's got the
23rd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's also got the problem that it's a film based on 10 years.
Yep, but that's the thing. It's for achievements in filmmaking. It's achievements in filmmaking.
It's a massive achievement, but I'm saying that the Oscars is a thing full of old people who don't understand newer films.
Yeah, and even that, they just do it for what's popular.
Yeah, but I mean,
and for ratings. Well, Infinity War's popular, but it's not.
I mean, nobody cares about the Oscars anymore.
Well, exactly, no one cares about the Oscars. But it's like with Zack Snyder, that's the thing. He has this god complex where people say that somehow Zack Snyder could have saved the entirety of Justice League, which I kind of don't doubt because, to be fair, Zack Snyder's version of what Joss Whedon did to Justice League fucked that film up.
Joss Whedon, did he write the first Avengers?
Both. He wrote and directed the first two Avengers films.
He is a shit writer, man. Like I didn't think about. Well, you know, I don't like Avengers 1.
Yeah,
and everyone seems to get offended when I say that.
Okay, no, with Avengers 1, I think Avengers 1 was like a case study, and
it was
the film was
the most. It's the most important film in superhero history.
And also not just importance. I say the film was competent enough on its own. The problem is it ages like milk.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Some people may say The Dark Knight's the most important film in history, but actually, in the weirdest way possible, The Dark Knight is the worst film for the future of superhero films because all the films started to try and copy that tone, and it was awful.
That is exactly what I was going to say, because people was like saying, X-Men, because everyone doesn't really talk about the X-Men, but they've been doing this for a long time. But when The Dark Knight came and had $1 billion Oscar-winning film, and a very well-made one of that, everyone was like, yo, we need Batman so dark and grim. Well, that's why I was happy. I was really happy with Lego Batman movie, because that was a very good change of pace. It was a very good change of pace for Batman.
Fingers don't need to be dark and gritty 100% of the time.
Yeah.
You need a few. Look at Winter Soldier, perfection.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not perfection, but like good. Really good, really fucking good. But like you can dark and gritty when it suits. So when Nazis have infiltrated American governments, then yes, I think that's a bit of a warrant to be a dark and gritty film.
Yeah.
But let me think of a few things. What in Suicide Squad? That's not dark and gritty, to be fair.
No, but that is a victim of its own problem. So when Zack,
to be fair, that would have made sense if that was dark and gritty.
It should have been dark. It was dark and gritty before Warner Bros. fucked it.
Yeah,
we spoke about that. I think we spoke about this in the last Coffee Club. The first after that they fucked it because of what happened to Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman could have done well as middle ground. As a middle ground,
it's not the worst film in the world. It's just pretty shit.
Yeah,
I like Man of Steel.
I liked Man of Steel, and I liked what it done with that. You've just hit the nail on the head. The dark and gritty Superman. That's what people don't like.
Yeah.
Superman as a hero, you cannot take him seriously because he can literally do everything, and they proved this with Justice League. Like I've told this before, Justice League, Superman's not there. The moment he arrives, he dispatches the villain and clears everything up in less than 10 minutes of screen time. So
you need to give these like heroes other problems. So for example, he obviously is pretty fucking all powerful.
Yeah.
When Thor turns up, he fucked Thanos up. In the second fight anyway. Yeah. And I know Thanos got away, and I know he snapped his fingers and killed half the universe. But regardless of that, he did fuck up the battlefield after they were losing. And every fight he's in, he usually for the most part wins. Maybe he had a bit of a scrap against Ultron, but
not even that. Ultron, he didn't really scrap against him. It was literally just he did that. Like even that's the Joss Whedon effect as well. When he's like he jokes too much.
The joke when he's like, "I'm running out of things to say."
I'm running out of things to say. Like, you ready? Yes, I'm ready.
How is that the same character?
It's like, how the fuck did
he must have hated the character he played?
Yes, he said he was going to quit.
Yeah,
he was going to quit, and then Taika Waititi came in.
Yeah, Taika Waititi and the Russos as well.
Yeah, and the Russos, but Taika Waititi,
James Gunn, and the Russos are like the fucking the men that made the MCU. I'm gonna argue.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I'd say that. Because
it got good in 2014.
Yeah, it got good in 2014. Because
yes, we had Iron Man.
And yes, we had Age of Ultron.
You know me. I know Ultron came out in 2015, but that's obviously James Gunn came in.
Iron Man 3.
And the Winter Soldier.
That's true.
But to be fair, 2014, what a year for superhero films.
Yeah.
Underrated year.
X-Men Days of Future Past came out that year as well.
I don't like X-Men.
That's well, you haven't.
But I like the comics, but I don't like.
You haven't watched Days of Future Past though.
No. I have.
Wait, and you didn't like it?
Just not that much. I can't really. Really? I can't really.
Honestly,
I watched it with friends. That's probably why.
It's on Netflix now anyway. So I think watch First Class and Days of Future Past. You might change your mind. Don't watch any other ones apart from First.
What about Logan?
No, X2, First Class, Days of Future Past. Logan. Only X-Men films that count.
Do I have to ignore the incredibly bad continuity errors then?
Well, no, because they fix it in Days of Future Past, literally.
Yeah, true. Like Days of Future Past. I mean, it kind of makes sense for the title.
Yep, but, that's what. I remember when I heard that title for the first time, and I was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah, maybe Dark Phoenix will be. Are we gonna see it? Or we're gonna see that.
We're gonna see, and it's gonna be shit, and I'm gonna love.
We're gonna witness the last.
Last Fox X-Men movie.
Wait, is Mutants coming out?
The New Mutants is still coming out. We don't know when. Well, the date's there, but
that's gonna get cancelled. I guarantee you.
I know. Do you know what I think it's gonna do? That's going to go because I think they're trying to redo it into an R-rated thing. I think they're going to put it onto Hulu. It's gonna be shelved from the films and put.
Yikes! The poor bad. Why don't Marvel just be like, nah, cancel it and we'll make it?
No, because they spent. I don't.
Wait, have they recorded it?
How much fucking yeah?
I didn't know that.
Finished,
I thought it was.
They finished the film and then they finished the film and the film was like a teen kind of drama because the director is a teen drama. Good?
Because the idea of New Mutants is.
But that's the thing. It was a teen drama. And then the guy, basically, it was a very, very intricate and interesting story. The director, who's Josh Boone, the last film he made, he's known for making The Fault in Our Stars. Yeah. So he came onto the New Mutants, and he made a film similar to like Fault in Our Stars in terms of teen dramas.
All the fucking mutants got cancer.
He wanted to make.
Wait, what? The mutants got cancer?
No, I meant as in the teen drama, not by genre. Not they got cancer and died.
Fault in Our Stars is about kids with
cancer.
I
know, but I meant as in
it's a teen drama.
It's a teen drama.
It's not a teen drama. They had cancer and died.
I know, but
it's a love story.
That's what I mean. Genre kind of thing. It's coming of age, that kind of thing. Not getting cancer and die.
But that's what I thought I was gonna say.
Yeah, I know, not literally. So what I mean is that he wanted to make a film tonally similar to The Fault in Our Stars, that kind of film.
So what are the mutants to get cancer?
Yeah. For fuck's sake. Yeah, but what happened was he originally wanted to make a horror film, then said, no, make your trademark film. He made that film, and then Fox went behind his back pretty much and marketed it as a horror film.
Jesus.
And when the trailer got lots of reception...
Is the Mutants trailer out then?
What?
Is the Mutants trailer out?
Yeah, the first trailer was out, and it's been out for 2 years. No, for a year, not 2 years, a year.
Fucking hell.
And it was meant to come out last April.
I just don't get it. Alright, so is Dark Phoenix the film to conclude the Fox X-Men universe?
The main Fox X-Men.
It's going to conclude everything.
Yes. So Logan concluded the storyline that continued from Days of Future Past. Okay. It's split into two. Days of Future Past, Wolverine goes back in time. He goes down one path that leads to Logan. All the young cast are there. They go down the other path, which leads to Apocalypse, which leads to Dark Phoenix.
Okay. Dark Phoenix will end their universe.
It will end the universe. Logan ended the story.
Okay.
So Dark Phoenix is the final one.
They should have just ended it on Logan.
They should have ended it on Logan.
Because Logan
Dark
was
Phoenix
actually really good.
Dark Phoenix looks like shit,
and
I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
I honestly, wait, have the pre-reviews come out yet?
The test screenings came out. Audience laughed at a major character death. And they've made it. And it's no spoiler about who's going to die because the fucking director spoiled it in an interview. And he even said, the interview said that, the title of the interview is like, director of Dark Phoenix talks about how he chose to kill Mystique in the film.
Spoiler. We already said.
It's so...
Watching
the trailer, it's so obvious. And it's also obvious because...
Who plays Mystique?
Jennifer Lawrence just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It's like...
I mean... Fucking hell, are they still trying to put like massive A-list actors as these characters?
Well, yeah, and one thing.
To be fair, Michael B. Jordan's pretty A-list, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know he was in fucking Black Panther.
Yeah, he's A-list.
I just feel like a lot of not A-list, but just below are the perfect people for superhero films. Well, yeah. Look at Robert Downey Jr. He is obviously A-list as fuck now.
Yeah, he's the biggest A-list. He's like S-list. He's S-tier.
So expensive.
That's why I think they're gonna kill him off because Disney can't.
I don't know.
Well, not kill him off. He's gonna survive, but they're gonna make him at like an old kind of role where it's he's not there.
I think I can be plausible with your theory that he will not die based on the trailer of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Tom Holland is not depressed in that trailer.
Yeah.
And also neither is Pepper
Potts.
No,
but maybe they go
Pepper
with no memories.
Huh?
Pepper wasn't in it. Yeah. Maybe they said the universe is going to be rewritten. If you rewrite the universe, where's his memories gone?
Well, so you think they're going to rewrite Tony Stark out of it completely?
Yeah, that's what if they...
That would be like... I don't even know if I would like that.
And if the ending is like the thing, like the sword they used the gauntlet, they used all the Infinity Stones to rewrite the universe.
Imagine if they rewrote the universe to where it's back in 2008. I know they're not going to do that, but imagine.
Or if they pulled the Doctor, like, what do you know with
Or no more mutants, even though there's.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I was going to say.
mutants.
So if they pull the Doctor Who, like with Doctor Who, I keep making Doctor Who references, but in season 5 with the Pandorica, when the Doctor blew it up, and then he disappeared, he got erased from existence as a result of doing that. What if they do that with?
I think they're going to do something which makes it also grounded once more, because they kind of need to, because right now everything is so
cosmic.
Yeah,
it's so cosmic. It's like
it's like right now it seems like you're at your top level, and
how do you go up?
How do you go back down?
Not even that. How do you go up? Where do you go from here? Like, you can do galactic.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, when you're so high up, you need to come back down a few levels to go back up.
To build back up.
Yeah, because to build to Galactus.
You can't have another escalation after Thanos, because will cheap Thanos up, and if you got after all of that, and then Thanos just gets showed up by Galactus, it's like, what the fuck was the point of the last 10 years? So that's why I do think something big's going to happen. And they did say the ending of Endgame is going to reshape the universe. So I think it will go back to being quite grounded. I think that's pretty. I think it's plausible based on Spider-Man, the trailer of Spider-Man, because it seems pretty grounded. Yeah. Obviously there's the water elementals, but that's just an effect by fucking what's his name, Mysterio. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just think also to bring in the mutants as well, which is eventually going to happen. Maybe something will happen with Scarlet Witch. Maybe they'll have their own rendition of No More Mutants. They do have the Disney Plus show coming soon.
What's that?
But
Scarlet Witch, yeah. So I just think something will happen, and I think it will depress a lot of people, not in a bad way, but I think it'll be like, that's sad. I don't know who's gonna die, but it's definitely. That's
the thing, we don't know who, and the film's gonna be like 3 hours long.
Yep, it's maybe they won't even die.
Imagine if no one dies. Honestly, I'd be angry. I'd be angry if no one dies.
You think?
Well, not angry. I'd be happy because I'm like, yay, they're survivor. Then I'll realize in hindsight, I'm just like, wait.
Maybe they needed to die.
Maybe they do need to die. Narratively, it doesn't make sense to keep all of them alive. Because why would you keep all of them alive?
Also, it makes this series less believable.
Yep, because you're just like, because if they pull the comics where it's like, they died, but they can be brought back later, I'm done. I'm out.
I'm out as well.
I'll be out because it's like I can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but. Should we say
they need to make they need to keep the value of the snap still there.
Yeah.
Even if that means bringing them back, there needs to be a consequence. That's what needs to be there. If they bring them all back and there's no consequence, which I fucking doubt it, because the Russos people are so worried about these things, but it's like you don't think the Russos thought about these things.
Yeah.
But what films have the Russos done? They've done Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War, and Endgame. Yeah. So think of it. Every single 3 of them films so far have had genuine narrative genius.
And consequences as well down the line.
So Winter Soldier, the consequences were...
Bucky's now in the mix. He's thrown into the mix.
And now Steve Rogers is questioning everything, including the government after Hydra takeover. In Civil War, there was the consequences of the Sokovia Accords. And obviously with Bucky.
And also Iron Man and Captain America both,
Yeah, but that was because of the Sokovia Accords.
That's because of the Sokovia Accords.
And Bucky.
And in addition to that, in Infinity War, they never met.
Yeah.
They didn't meet.
And that maybe that consequence maybe is one of the reasons the snap happened. Because maybe if Stark and Captain America were working together from the very beginning...
Or if Stark had fucking called him when he asked him to. Because Banner's the one who called him. So
So there is always they always have that consequence there, but it's subtle, and that's what makes their writing so good. And obviously, these consequences lead to half the universe dying. So you have to think about it. Winter Soldier is the film which actually set up the original consequences, which has led to this film. Because I'm sure if there was no animosity between Captain America and Iron Man, they would have maybe realized something was going on, or they would have. Where the fuck is Thor? Where's the Hulk? The Civil War, Ultron and shit like that maybe wouldn't have happened because things would have been more...
What if Iron Man was just sane after? Because you do realize everything about the narrative dates all the way back to the first Avengers film.
Yeah, but when
Iron Man got PTSD from fighting all those aliens. That led to Ultron. That led to everything. Technically speaking, Avengers started it all. That's why it's like, you know, I just feel they've got this, because Russo's did shoot this back to back. The two writers of the screenplay, I think, Marcus and McFeely, they both know what they're doing. I have faith in them. I have faith. I do not think this film is going to be bad. If it is bad, I will genuinely, like, you know,
if this film is bad, I will give one viewer £1,000.
I genuinely, the next ad revenue payment, I'd give the entire thing. I'd give the entire thing to one lucky viewer if the film turns out rotten. If it's rotten.
I am so convinced that it's not going to be bad, because they have. I'm convinced it's going to be better than Infinity War, because there is so much more narrative now. There is so much more story. There are so many more things you can play on, and there is so much potential to build. Whereas Infinity War, I think, is actually more difficult. I think Infinity War is so difficult because there are so many characters you need to include, and also you need to come to that conclusion.
Yeah,
the conclusion's done.
Yeah,
it's not arguably, Endgame is a Phase 4 movie. Arguably, it's not, but arguably it could be considered one, because it's setting up the universe of Phase 4 and Phase 5 and Phase 6. Endgame is going to affect all them phases, so they don't really have to do too much. They already have the sadness there. It's going to be so fucking easy for them to show all the Avengers depressed, and if they do the thing of where there's going to be, they go to take it to the fight to Thanos again and they lose again, nobody's going to be mad. And also, it's like, that's going to be good to see. I want that to happen. It's like, I don't even care if that's a bit predictable. It's probably not even predictable. It's probably just because I've read into it way too much.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like the whole feeling about Lord of the Rings, like Return of the King, when that came out, and there was so many. I feel like I really want it to be like Lord Return of the King kind of, you know, like success, and not even just like the film's like length and everything, but I think the success. Return of the King won every Oscar it was nominated for.
The idea of the Return of the King is very samey as well. It's very, in a way, predictable what happens. They save the day and stuff.
But it's so well done.
And in the books, it doesn't happen in the film, but in the books of the ending of Return of the King, there are still consequences. The orcs go and burn down the Shire at the ending, and there's a very melancholy ending. Maybe that would have worked well in the narrative of the film, but they're Hollywood and they want to give a happy ending. Disney, although, and the Russos are a bit different to that. Somehow, I don't know how, but Marvel have allowed Disney to let them have sad endings. And that's
Disney have allowed Marvel to let them have.
I don't know if that's a new thing, because I swear old Marvel films didn't have sad endings.
Bittersweet endings.
Seeing the ending of Infinity War wasn't even bittersweet. Seeing just like how it ended, a villain
winning.
Have you ever seen a film where the villain is sat at the end smiling? He's happy. He's done his job.
Well, apart from if it was superhero films, not really. I think villains winning.
Maybe The Dark Knight.
No, not even that. Villains winning is something there. Like, what I'm gonna say, Watchmen as well. The villain literally won and did mass genocide, so it was like fucking hell. Empire Strikes Back started it with Vader. Literally, Vader won.
Yeah,
that was like, they even said Infinity War was the Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, they are, and that's the Russos are nerds. They're huge nerds. They're like me and you. They're complete nerds, and that makes me happy to see there's nerds in charge of this, because they've all already. I think the main one of them quoted and said, "Empire Strikes Back is we got inspired by that." They said, and also with trailers, he said the reason that he's told Marvel and Disney to make the trailers how they have is because of when he went in to see Empire Strikes Back.
He went in blind.
Yeah, he went in blind, and it was amazing. That's what Russos did. Same thing with me. I went into Infinity War blind, and it was amazing. And I'm still going into trailers. And I'm still going to go into Endgame blind, despite the amount of things I've read and seen. I still have no idea what's going to happen.
No one has any idea, which is what's scaring me. And I think it's like, you know, I think that's probably going to be detrimental to stuff in the long run. But I think, should we wrap it up? Pretty much.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Not really. I think we're gonna leave that for the quickies, which one should be going up soon. So
yeah, we actually structured this surprisingly well.
We really did. We're getting better at this. So we've got focused stuff to talk about because we're actually going out and watching films, you guys.
What episode is this?
This is 4. This is episode 4.
Nice.
And we've got. I think we're going to be seeing Shazam soon as well.
Yeah. Is there any other films we can go see?
There's another Wonder Park. Oh, Pet Sematary.
When's that?
The Stephen King. April 4th.
That looks trippy.
April 4th.
That looks scary.
It is. It's horror. It's a Stephen King.
Yeah. I've read the books.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll watch Pet Sematary and I'll watch Shazam, and we can both put that in 1 week because it comes out within like a few days of each other.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I think it's just a build into Endgame because there's not much that comes out this month.
Legit, like. We're going to be talking about because there's going to be like press releases, TV things.
Yeah, well, there was a featurette literally released recently, and it was like, I watched that, and it was like, wow, I'm just maybe 10 times more hyped for the film. But yeah, in that case, I'd say thanks for listening to this episode of the Coffee Club podcast. It's now available on iTunes after about 2 weeks.
And Spotify.
Yeah, well, I meant it's always been available, but I said like I've spent I'm not even 2 weeks. I'd say about a week and a half trying to get it on iTunes, and they finally approved it. It's on iTunes now. Thank you, Apple.
We are official now.
Yeah,
Apple. We're recording this on a Mac, so
yeah, we're an Apple person, Apple people now. Follow us on Twitter. We're constantly reading all the tweets and reading everything about it.
Please follow us Twitter.
Yeah, please follow us on Twitter. We're almost at 1,000 followers at the time of this recording. I think we're like 965.
975.
975, yeah. We're close to 1,000 followers. So when you get this out, then maybe we'll be at 1,000 followers then.
Please.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to both of our channels. And also, I was going to say one more thing to sign off. I think I fucking forgot.
Welcome to Beast.
Well, welcome to pretty much.
See you later, guys. Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening, day, night, morning, evening. Yeah.
Bye.